Okay, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Lord, this is the Better Marriage Daily Podcast, BMD, episode 8? We on number 8 already.
Already.
Wow. What's your t-shirt say? Will burn sage and bridges if I need to. Must have joy. Well, the t-shirt is kind of...
Yeah, that's... It's me.
Right, but the t-shirt is on topic.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're talking about we're continuing from the last episode. At the end of it, we started talking about most of the episode was about how when Vanessa learned that she was pregnant and how her family dynamic changed and how that changed her. Mm-hmm. And she responded as a fight. She gonna fight life instead of let life take over her. Instead of responding to life, she was gonna she was gonna be proactive about all of that.
Absolutely,
and she did. You're a wonderful testimony.
And I have to give my parents props on that because they, I saw it in the house. You know what I'm saying? That they raised me with fight in me.
Oh yeah. From and this is me. But didn't your mama said, you live here, but that's your baby?
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Before we go into that, remember that. Yeah, remember that. You live, but that's your baby. Mm-hmm. So go ahead on him. So remember we told y'all in the first episode that we live our life Christ-centered. Yes. Our life is Christ-centered. So we suggest that whatever you choose to have a third power between you two. Because whenever it's just you two, it's just your egos and your pride. That's always going to be a struggle for power. But if you have a way of life that you both ascribe to, whether it's together or apart, but you both have a higher power, we find that generally gives you that extra, not say referee, but that extra point of reference that you can go to so that everything isn't always about me. It's like, well, what would God say? What would Jesus do? Mm-hmm. Some people might be like Buddha or whatever. We're not going to trip on anybody. What you do is what you do. But we suggest that you have a higher power that you bring into your relationship so that you have, just that extra go-to thing. So there's not just you and having battle of wills, mm-hmm. right? There needs to be a reference point, a standard.
Right.
That's what it is. So that we have a standard set, mm-hmm. right? So with ours is Jesus. So this is going to be a heavy one. Not too heavy, but heavy, and we want to make sure that we address it in a manner that's going to be, it's going to be true, but not disparaging,
mm-hmm.
So we're going to pray before and we're going to pray on air this time. So go ahead on, baby. Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch the look?
God, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to share our life and share our experiences with the masses. We thank you, God, in the name of Jesus, that whoever is listening and watching this podcast will learn something, that this will be a seed that we're sowing, and that they would catch our hearts and catch things that may help them get through their marriages. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay, so we were saying before I did the prayer, what was I saying?
Oh, about this family dynamic?
Yeah.
That it changed. Oh, about what I was told when I got pregnant.
Yes,
that part.
Yes,
yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah.
That prayer just totally reset my mind.
Yeah.
So her, her mom. So tell them the story to refresh them. Those who missed the other podcast, go catch the other episode 7, and it'll bring you up to speed.
Yeah. Well, when I got pregnant, and it's really
let them know. Retell the thing.
I got pregnant at 18, and of course, I had to let my parents know what was going on, and the father of the baby, we were not together. We were not together, so it kind of left me out there. So I'm having to deal with my parents. And so there were, we went through this thing where they sit me down and they tell me everything that they need to tell me. And one of the things was, going through that, then there's some things when you're young, you don't understand. But what I appreciated years later was the fact that they didn't coddle me.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't coddle me. They weren't going to raise the baby. That I was told that, okay, this is what's going, you've told us this, we're going to deal with it, but the baby is yours. We are not going to raise it. We will help you and you can live here. And I was able to live in the house, y'all. 7 years I lived with my parents, with my child. But the baby is going to be yours. We are done raising. Well, we're still raising your younger sisters, and I was the oldest. So that really, at the time, I didn't expect them to do that. I knew who my parents were,
Well,
but
that's a thing.
I knew who my parents were. So we had already had conversations about that, but just to let me know, just in case I forgot, just in case. We will support you. We will help you, but the baby is yours, and that was a blessing, because that really did make me figure things out. They were not going to be the grandparents who, raised the kid and then I'm out doing, whatever it is and living my life. And they were not for that. They were not. So I had to figure things out. And that truly was a blessing. It really was. And it made me, number one, try to prove everybody wrong, and gave me the fight that I needed, and I was appreciative that they allowed me to even live in the house and having 3 other sisters younger than me, So, yeah, that conversation that they put everything out on the table and I got to work. I really did. I got to work. So I appreciated it, but it wasn't it wasn't easy.
So knowing all of that, what did that make you feel?
Well, I think looking back, I think I was just grateful that they didn't put me out.
Like real talk.
I mean, really.
Because back then,
because families did that.
Then they was doing that.
Especially in our parents' generation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was just grateful that they didn't put me out. You know what I'm saying? I would have wound up probably going live with my aunt or something, and that, one of my aunts, and it probably wouldn't have ended well. But yeah, I was just grateful. So next thing was to, have the baby and even before I had the baby, to start figuring things out, what I wanted to do, and that gave me time, to figure it out, because it wasn't a guarantee that I wasn't going to be doing it on my own.
And the biggest thing is like we were talking about, trust.
Mm-hmm.
So that relationship broke a trust.
Yes. And I think I felt bad about that for a long time.
Now it broke a trust. You broke their trust.
I think I broke their trust.
Uh-huh.
Which made me feel horrible. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of changed something in me, that I disappointed them and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because they looked at me. I mean, I was graduating. I was the first one where I did graduate. But just having all of that go down, was truly a disappointment. And it was a disappointment for them. I saw the disappointment in their eyes, and, I was disappointed in myself. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of made me hard. I developed this hardness, so.
But it's a protection mechanism.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was.
But
a
did
protection.
you know you were developed? You had gotten hard. It become hard.
No, I didn't. I didn't realize that until years later. After Anthony was born.
Yeah.
And then what I went to. Well, then going into the career that I did, it fed into that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which made me even harder because I had to be.
Right. Now pause right there.
Yeah.
So some college senior who wants to be married, or if by God's grace some high school senior sees this, explain how that happened. You had made it through high school. The whole
I was
high
graduated.
School. He was your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Y'all was good. There was no pregnancy. And all of a sudden he's about to go to the army.
Yeah.
You're looking at college.
Yep. And yeah. I was looking at college, going to college. It was delayed.
So talk to the high school senior and the high school and the college graduate, about to be graduate, who's in a relationship or out of a relationship, and how they need to protect themselves. And I've heard you tell women this before.
Yeah.
And I hope you do it without me prompting you. Listen.
And it's okay. It's okay to be in a relationship and, and to, be in love. But where I failed, because I'm going to talk about me, where I failed is that I put someone before me, because he knew what he was going to do. Right. And he was a year older than me anyway, but he knew what he was going to do. And, I allowed that relationship to totally derail everything that I had planned for myself. And it wasn't until years later that I realized what I had done. And we had that discussion, that I gave my power away to this person, and then who abandoned me really after that. So, I would say to protect yourself, I would say don't give your power away, because it changes your life. It changed his a little bit, but he didn't take accountability the way a person should, the way a young man should, when he finds out that his, girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever, whomever, you know what I'm saying? He didn't take accountability.
And he had signed the contract to leave, so he didn't even have the option to stay.
No, he didn't have the option to stay. And it wasn't even, it was the fact that he was going to go out and live his life, So I would say that, just don't do it. Think about your future. It's not the worst thing that you can do, but it's going to change. It's going to delay everything that you have planned for yourself. It really is.
That power thing that's huge.
When I heard you,
when you articulated that, I was like, wow.
And I said
women are going to love this, because that's something that,
And so for a long time, it's like even before I realized what that was, because of everything that I went through, being a single parent, having to figure all of that out. And the thing is too, with him, I have to say, he didn't say that the baby was not his.
Right,
He knew that it was his.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he still chose to make other choices, you know? And so I was on my own, you know. I was abandoned, really, you know. And so I would say that no matter how you feel about a young man, you know, that you don't give your power away, because 9 times out of 10, you are going to be given that responsibility, no matter what, whether he stays or whether he goes.
And we know people who gave that power. And then the killer piece is it seems like it always happens in a relationship that don't really matter to you that much.
Yeah.
Like you doing this just to do it, you know, out of some kind of maybe misguided obligation,
right?
Or just like, you know, I mean, you know, it won't hurt nothing.
Yeah.
You know, because you did that, not even protecting yourself with, you know, with contraceptive,
right?
And we know people who've done that, but have also not protected themselves with with like prophylactics, you know, and come away with a permanent STD,
right. Absolutely.
You know, and which I don't see how. I mean, I say that, but I was young. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think people need to really understand that whenever you choose to do those things with someone without protecting yourself in every way that you can, then you're choosing to just basically play Russian roulette.
Oh,
Spin
exactly.
The revolver and
exactly.
click, and hope it doesn't go off.
Exactly.
And that may be a rush for some people.
Maybe.
But for you, that wasn't the case.
That was not the case.
That was not the case for you.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing you say is you said that you gave your power away and you didn't really realize that.
No, it took me years, you know, to process all of that. You know, it took me years, and I was really disappointed in myself. I mean, I know my parents, they were disappointed, but I mean, they couldn't be more disappointed than I was, because it was my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day,
it was my life.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to walk that out for years, you know, that, you know, I mean, I had to forgive myself for all of that. For the mistakes.
But you didn't forgive yourself for a long time.
For a long time.
So let's walk this thing. We're gonna walk this thing out. So you're disappointing yourself. You disappointed your parents. So now you're in the house. The trust is gone. You feel like you just betrayed their trust, and then you, in a way that you can't articulate, you feel like you can't trust them anymore because of the way they responded to what you did, even though you understood that was going to be the response. So you don't hold them accountable for it, but you're just like, okay, I'm by myself.
Right.
Even though, as
I'm
you already
not.
said,
No.
You're not.
I'm not. I wasn't by myself.
But in your heart, you're like, I'm by myself.
But in my heart, yeah.
You know, because you want them to respond differently. But when they respond the way that they respond, now you got trust issues all around.
Right. And so
so then you go through these relationships.
I go through those relationships, other relationships and things, and
the trust was broken.
Oh man.
Over
and over again. And then I meet you.
Yes.
Who, you know, you are a different dude, a different kind of dude, you know. And so
musician, no less.
A musician, that's right. And so you were just a different kind of guy.
But you didn't come into the relationship thinking about long term.
No,
you were just like, we're gonna kick it.
Yeah, we were kicking it. You know what I'm saying? And I was good with that, because I didn't really.
Episode, when kicking it leads to marriage. Yeah. Kicking it leads to commitment.
That's right.
Just so you know, kicking it leads to commitment.
Can lead to commitment.
It can lead to commitment.
In marriage, yeah.
And if you get pregnant or get an STD, it's a commitment. So either way, kicking it can lead to commitment and marriage. That's where we at.
Yeah.
So then here we are now, you know, we're going to fast forward through all those relationships and all those guys who let you down, you know, and did it seem like as soon as you let your go, like we talked about them a little bit, but just to just to like as soon as you got comfortable, maybe, then they would like, they'd catch you slipping, catch you trusting?
No, I don't. No, it wasn't like that. I just didn't. It's something clicked in me, with everything that I went through. Something clicked in me because it just wasn't. I didn't feel like it was just men who let me down and disappointed me. It was everyone.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was everyone. It was, it was family, it was friends, it was, you know what I'm saying? So I just kind of, went within.
So you were on an island.
Yes.
An island of one and a half.
Mm-hmm.
You and yours.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So you lived 14 years like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you lived even into our marriage, you were like that.
Right. I sure was. Yeah. Yeah. It's the truth.
But and from that day forth, you were an island of one and a half. You and yours.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
So I know women can relate to that. I know they can.
Oh yeah.
So so now you're in this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You're in it with one and a half, and then you add plus one, but we're not two and a half. We're still one and a half living with one.
Right.
We're one and a half living with two because, I had mine and I was all in with mine.
Yeah.
So we're not three and a half. We're not four. We're three and a half.
Mm-hmm.
We're one and a half living with two.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And what was so crazy about it is that I didn't know right away. It was years.
We didn't know.
Well, I didn't know how I felt deep down inside. I didn't know that I had trust issues.
Yeah.
And it was so unfair to you, because you didn't give me any reason not to.
Right. And I've always been really, really discerning. Right. So I've always been able to discern the people that I'm in relationship with, kind of where they're coming from. It's a gift that God has given me, and I use it responsibly these days.
Okay.
Everybody got a pass, bro.
Yeah.
So I use it responsibly these days, and we've talked about this before, and I'm gonna always tell that story. We're gonna be I'm gonna tell that same little story about us being at the Waffle House on 365 on 365 Highway 365 in Texas. That's right. At the Waffle House. At the Waffle House, and I was actually sitting with my back to the door, which I don't ever do, because I was still fighting her. Or better yet,
you were just beginning to fight me.
Because I was just beginning to fight her,
fight me,
to be the protector in the relationship. She was still 1.5 on her own at that point, right? And so I was like, you know what? I see something, and she was like, "Oh, really? What you see?" It wasn't the soft and really tender voice that you see speaking with me now. It was very harsh and brash, but I was cool with
Matter
it. Matter of fact, but I loved that. So I always knew where I stood, but I didn't really know. As we got longer into the relationship, I thought I knew, but I did not know. Right? Ain't that a trip?
Yeah.
I thought I knew, but I didn't. So I said, "Hey, I see something." You're like, "What you see?" I said, "I see that you have big old castle brick walls, like 10, 12-foot walls around your heart, because every man in your life has let you down." And now you just said everybody.
Yeah.
Now you feel like everybody.
Oh, yeah.
But I was specifically thinking about the men. I was like, every man has let you down, and I'm going to make it my life's mission to restore your faith in men.
Yeah, you said that.
I'm a wall breaker. I'm a wrecking ball. I said that before her.
You did.
I said, I'm a wrecking ball.
And I was looking at you like.
You're like, you said that. You did. you did that phrase first, and then you went, oh, really? Oh, okay. All right. And then you're like, I heard that before, right?
Right.
But you didn't hear it like that. But
No.
Because, of course, I'm unique. And I'm a wordsmith. I had that little game. You know what I'm saying? What's up?
But you were on it.
Yeah, I recognized it.
Yeah, you were on it.
Little did I know it would become the bane of my existence.
For quite some time.
So I told you that. And so then now we're in relationship. And we're having to jostle for control. And not that I'm trying to take control, and not that I have this whole, like some would say today, toxic masculinity thing where I go, look, I'm the man. No, not even that. It's just like, you say it.
Simple things.
You say it. I don't want to make decisions no more.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in a relationship where I don't have to make decisions.
Yeah.
Where I can just trust that you got me.
That was the word, though.
But you said it. Where I can just trust that you got me, and I can just be. And I said, cool, I got that. So the way I operate is once in every relationship, once we set the goal, this is where we going, I don't stop till we get there.
Right.
That's who I am. You found that out.
Yes.
And so now I'm trying to be everything you said you wanted me to be. Mm-hmm. And you fighting me.
Yes.
Every way. Every step of the way. Every how. Any kind of way you can.
Any kind of way.
It was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. And then we finally get through that. And you realize that it was a trust issue.
Yes.
And you realize that it started, whenever you got pregnant and was disappointed in them. Mm-hmm. And you realized that you didn't trust me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Wild.
Yeah. And didn't have a reason not to.
Didn't have a reason. Mm-mm. And so this is what happened. And so now we go back to me. So what I would do is I didn't want to fight. Like, I was like, I'm not going to fight. That ain't, I can fight. And I can verbally joust with the best of them. But I'm like, I'm not going to do that in my house. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do that. Now here's another thing. Again, we're going to preface this by saying we believe on the Christ-like platform. So in my faith, what we believe is that the man is the head of the house. And by head of the house, it doesn't mean the dictator of the house.
The ruler.
The ruler. Yeah. It ain't Sean the ruler.
No.
What it is the man is responsible. So I believe fully that whenever I die and go to the heaven that I believe in, that I'm going to be responsible for those left in my charge. Because the Bible says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. Most people leave out the next part. And then receives favor from the Lord. So she's my favor. Why would I do anything to take my favor away? Yeah. And so men, I can tell you this, in a traditional relationship or in any relationship, whoever is the person who is that person who is the final say. Okay. And by final say, we mean when we talk about it, I'm the one pulling the trigger. So y'all can talk in the comments all you want and say all the crazy stuff. But in every business, there's one person responsible for making the decision. Mm-hmm. You have wise counsel. Right. But one person is responsible for making the decision. Mm-hmm. In this relationship, I'm the CEO. But there's a COO and a CFO. Mm-hmm. And she happens to be the COO and the CFO. Mm-hmm. So if she wanted to, she could outrank me. You know what I'm saying? But she's trusting in the structure of the relationship. And she's trusting now that I'm going to lead us in the right direction. Right. So guys, as the CEO of the relationship, right, you determine, you're the thermostat for the relationship. Your relationship will go as you go. So if you're petty, your house is going to be petty. Your kid's going to be petty. Your wife's going to be petty towards you and towards the kid and towards everybody else. You set the atmosphere. When people come into this house, they get peaceful. They sit on our couch and they're like, man, I could just go to sleep right here. Because I've declared and decreed that when you cross through the threshold of this house, any contrary spirit cannot come in. Cannot. They got to go. They can't stay here. They can't even come in the door. You know what I'm saying? And so I say all that to say, I don't want to argue. So I didn't want the house to be argumentative. She gave me many opportunities for us to be argumentative. Many. And we were at a particular church one time, and I said, you know what? I see some things that I don't like. And I want to let you know that I believe that the Holy Spirit told me to take control of my house again, to take my rightful place in the house. Because I was letting her, because I didn't want to fight. I was letting her have her way. And things were not going the way they should go in the household.
Right.
And again, you can try to crucify us if you want, but it's kind of been proven that in your natural state, you're more intuitive and emotional. We're more factual and matter of fact. It's like, this makes sense. This is why we do this. Right. So I'm supposed to pray for the vision for the house, and she's supposed to pray for the vision for the house. We both pray for it. I'm supposed to get it, and then she's supposed to get a piece. And if she don't have a piece, her job is to pray for me to make the right decisions. Right. Which in the process of it, if you think about it, it grows me as a CEO. It grows me as the head of the household. I may not do everything right, but I have to make those mistakes. Just like a kid, you tell the kid don't touch that, but when they touch it, they learn not to touch it. So I'm getting this on the fly as I give it to you, as I'm getting it while I'm talking about it. So I got the revelation that I need to take my house back, take control of my house back. Now I told her that, and she was like, immediately ready to fight again. Right? And so I say, baby, I said, God told me that, this is what I got to do. And she said, well, what does that mean? Full neck pop, full attitude. Full. I said, now look, no, chill out. What it means is that I see that there are things that are out of whack, and it's my fault because I didn't want to argue. I just let you do what you wanted to do. I saw stuff that needed to be fixed. I didn't fix it because I didn't want to fight. I said, but now I'm letting you know that now it's going to be a fight if it has to be. But I don't want it to be, which is why we're talking. And she's like, okay, I'm listening. I said, okay. So basically, nothing is going to change. She said, what you mean? I said, you pay bills way better than I do. I don't want to pay the bills. I'm fine. Bring the money in, put it in that, go. Here you go. Let's do it. I say, but what'll change is this. I believe that you are sick all the time because you have taken on the mantle that I'm supposed to be carrying, the burden of responsibility that I'm supposed to be carrying. So how this is going to go down is you're going to look at our money and you're going to look at the bills. And when you see that there's a shortage at a particular point in the month, instead of you stressing on how it's going to happen or doing what you've been doing, messing up my credit.
Yeah.
So I'm pissed on a whole bunch of levels at that point. Because what she would do is if it was due, she'd pay it. Even though other things were more important on the important scale, the date said it was time to pay it. Right? And that was basically her, to me, for not having the money as well. I understood that. Right? I understood it subconsciously. It might not have been forward thinking.
But
it was back there
thinking.
For sure. Because her stuff never got left to the side. Just mine. Right? And I said, because here's the deal. You've never struggled paying your bills.
Never.
You've always paid them on time. You've always had money in the bank.
Yep.
I, on the other hand, have not. So I know how these things, I know how long you can go before your water get cut off. I know how long you can go before your electricity get cut off. I know how long you can go before your cell phone or your telephone, house phone get cut off. I know how long. So let me bear the burden of that. And also when you tell me what's going, now I can set in motion the thing, the universe and the stuff to get the money to come in to do that. Because if I know, now I can make it fix. So what happens is if we're short, you say, baby, we're short. And I say, okay, what we got left to pay? You tell me and I'll tell you which ones to pay. I said, and you forget about it because God gonna take care of it because I got it. I know now, I'm on it. And she started defiantly at first. Okay, mister, we got these. What we gonna do?
I did.
I said, okay, cool.
I sure did.
I said, okay, cool. I said, and there were some other choice words I said at the end of that. I said, because you do dumb stuff. And I said the other word, the S word. I said, you do dumb crap. She said, what you mean dumb crap? I said, the water bill and the gas bill and electricity bill have a week. We got money coming in next week, but it's due today. So you don't pay my bill that's being reported to the credit bureau because you pay those because the due date says today. But when you don't pay my thing, it hurts my credit. And she was like, well, they was due. No remorse. Absolutely no remorse. You hear me? Cold-blooded, no remorse. I said, so now that the mantle's on me. So the first time she came, well, here, we got this, and that. I said, okay, cool. Hold off on that because we got at least 2 weeks. We got to pay that. I got some money coming in here, but pay this because this is due and it's going to affect our credit. Okay. Now you tell them what happened after you stopped worrying about the things that you didn't have, that you weren't built to worry about.
Oh, number one, I was less stressed out.
Which meant that you stopped being
sick. Yeah. I stopped being sick. I used to have like headaches almost like every day. But a part of that too, it was twofold, because a part of that was I was carrying more than I should, and I was in the habit of doing it. So I didn't notice what was going on. I didn't see the connection with that.
Yeah.
And I had like really, really bad sinus allergy issues as well. So it just made everything like worse. But I started to feel better, feel lighter, because the headaches were still there from sinuses, from seasonal stuff, But I started to feel lighter. I wasn't feeling this heaviness, I guess. And then when you are living with it for so long, you don't notice that.
Oh, but it was messing with my life, and I was tired of it.
Yeah,
the Holy Spirit said,
when you're living with it for so long, because I was doing it on my own for so long, so it had become a part of me.
So you were fighting me while we were married. You asked for it, and I'm here, and I'm trying to help, trying to make these decisions, and you're fighting me, so I just let you.
Because I didn't want to, I figured out later that I did not. It was a control issue as well.
You knew what would happen if you did it. You didn't know what would happen if you let me decide.
Exactly. And I didn't trust you.
Like I said, yeah.
I didn't trust you. You never gave me a reason not to, but I didn't trust you.
Right. That's right.
I didn't trust anybody.
Right.
So that was hard. And that's why it was such I was fighting myself.
Yep. And so just so y'all know, so spiritually speaking, it's my job to worry about those things, because I'm not going to look at it emotionally. I'm looking at it, factually. And like I said, I was the one that had, and it might be a reverse in your life. I don't know, but I was the one that understood it, and I could make the decision and bear the burden of the decision. Mm-hmm. And when she stopped bearing that burden, she stopped having headaches. She started being better, feeling better.
Feeling better for sure.
It lifted a weight off of things. Because like I told her, I said, just me gaining my rightful position in the house means that I'm now going to lord over it. Mm-hmm. Like I'm going to be responsible for it. So now I'm going to speak to it. Because when we speak to those things, we cause those things to come under subjection to our voice. Yes. Like my house is at peace. So now my finances are now going to be at peace. And I wasn't speaking to that.
Right.
And we were just responding because I wouldn't take my place and speak and be that to that. Yeah. Right. So once I did that, everything started getting in line. And now she comes to me and goes, hey, now she comes here the same way. I'm like, baby, we got money. I'm like, we got money. What you talking about? We got money. I know, but I just want to make sure. And let me say that also, I have a great wife. She don't like to spend money.
Come on. I don't.
She don't like to spend money. She pinching a penny. I had to separate. We'll talk about money on the next one. Right? I had to separate my band account, which is smart, but I had to create a band account because I was having to justify to her when I do band stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, look, I've never spent $1 that didn't make 10. Mm-hmm. And I'm fighting you for this. I kept praying, I was like, Lord, how do I fix this? I was like, oh, I know how. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. And it didn't need to be, it wasn't supposed to,
it wasn't supposed to be commingled anyway.
No, it wasn't.
But once it was out of the account, now it's not in her purview. Right. So now I don't have to deal with that. So when the money comes in, I deal with how I wanted to. And that was another thing that I learned when, first of all, your business should never be with your personal. Never be mixed. Yeah, man, that was the thing. So once we got that show, she gave up a little bit more control. Now I'm the final say. Now, guys, again, the women who are going to be out there saying, well, yeah, you can't do it. You just talked about giving up your power. Now you're talking about that. No, it's a totally different thing.
Different.
So now here's the thing. All the pressure is on me now, because what we do is we talk about it, we discuss it, Just like a CEO. CEO gets all the information, and then that person is responsible for pulling the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I get all the information and I pull the trigger. The killer piece is now I'm totally responsible. So the pressure is really on. So whenever the pressure gets on you like that, you tend to not make decisions frivolously.
Right.
Because I got this one looking at me with that face right there. Not that one, the one right before that. And so I'm not taking any decision lightly. I'm making sure that everything is on. I'm praying about it. I'm staying in prayer and I make the decision. Did I misstep a few times? Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
And did I hear her, who's my discernment? Who's my discernment? Did I hear her giving the pushback? Yeah, I did. But I really felt strongly about it. And so this will be the last thing that we'll say. So trust issues, you got to find out where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Once you find them, then address them head on.
Address them, yeah.
We address them head on. Communication is key. You got to be open to communicating. Figure out what your partner's language is, communication language is, and then deal with that. We've taken a long time to get to our communication language.
Very long time.
A very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But what was that? Man, I need some ginkgo biloba. I was about to do a real good rap too, man. Oh man, that was gonna be a real good rap.
Okay, it's okay.
Talking about money.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
this is what I wanted to add.
What's that?
That when you talked about that I don't like to spend money.
Yeah.
You told me a few months ago. You said, you told me a few months ago because of the way that I don't like really spending money like that.
Yeah.
You said, I don't know what's going on in the accounts. I don't know what I have or what I don't have, because you trust me to handle it. And I'm not going to just be spending money on crazy stuff.
Right.
That's just something that I don't do. We don't do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a trust there as well, that you trust me to do the right thing.
Yeah.
When you are not, like when you're on the road, when you're doing things, you don't have to be out there with the shakes wondering what I'm doing, because I have access to everything.
That's right.
Absolutely everything, every account I have access.
And see, that's what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah.
Do you commingle your money or don't you? Next time on Better Marriage Daily, where we talk about loving each other in spite of each other. I'm Sean.
And I'm V.
So y'all stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And y'all, we really appreciate y'all. And like I said, we want to give you content. If you've been married less than 23 years, we got you. If you've been married longer than 23 years, then I'm sure there's something that we're going through that you can use. But if you have any questions or have topics you want to hear, put that in the comments, and we'll check that out, and we'll try to address some of those. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we love y'all. We gonna start praying for y'all because we haven't started yet.
Yeah.
That was something that just came to me, because we're recording these things, in batch, so they're not like we're doing it the day that you see it.
Right.
So, we're gonna pray for y'all, everybody who's watching and following, that you get these revelations and that we have a word for you that's gonna bless you in due season. So till next time. I'm Sean.
And I'm V.
Again, we are on the Better Marriage Daily podcast, where we learn how to love each other in spite of each other. So until next time, we'll see y'all. Bye-bye.